The death of Killer Orange Cat. And my best friend told me I should go skydiving. I always told him only a crazy fool would put themselves in that sort of danger. Why would I jump out of a plane and risk death when I could just live peacefully with my feet on the ground? He insisted that it was perfectly safe, and that I would have 2 parachutes in case one of them didn't work. He nagged me and nagged me until finally I decided to do it. I was scared out of my mind as I was up in the plane. I was behind my friend, and he jumped first. I wasn't able to jump. My legs didn't want to do it. I insisted that the guy behind me push me out of the plane. He did. I felt so alive. My buddy was right. It was the closest I could ever feel to being a bird or a Superman. I wondered why I didn't try this sooner. Even though I was enjoying the feeling, I knew I had to release my parachute. I pulled the cord. Nothing happened. I panicked a little before realizing that I did have an emergency chute. I pulled the cord. Nothing happened. This time, the panic was real. I continued to watch as the earth came closer and closer to me, and I knew I would be hitting it soon. But then I saw it. I was right above one of those wind turbines, and it was spinning fast. I really didn't have time to panic, as my body hit the spinning turbine and got completely torn apart, my limbs and head and body parts thrown all over the ground in a disgusting mess. Green energy, my ass.
The death of Mortis Media. I was invited to go on one of these ghost hunts. I thought it would be great if I were able to find actual proof of a haunting. It would do wonders for my channel if I were able to record some actual hauntings. But for the majority of the night, we really didn't see anything. Until, in the dark, I thought I saw something in another room. It looked like there was a little girl walking into the basement. The camera crew were away from me, and I thought about finding them, but the ghost could disappear. So I took out my cell phone and turned on the camera, anxious but excited that I would get actual video proof of a haunting. I hurried into the basement. Just in time, I saw the little girl at the bottom of the stairs. I quickly ran down the stairs, my camera capturing everything. I was surprised that when I got down the stairs, the little girl was gone. But in her place were 6 of the scariest looking ghosts I could have ever imagined. Big, disturbing characters who displayed the causes of their death. One was covered in chains. One had a machete buried in his skull. The shock left me motionless, but suffice to say the ghosts were not. They quickly descended upon me, grabbing every part of my body. One had my head, others grabbed my arms and legs. I was barely able to struggle as the ghost began pulling on my limbs. My head was the last to go, so that I could watch as the ghost ripped my limbs off my body. Did you know that when your head is ripped off your body, you can still see what's happening for a few minutes?
Camping is my favourite thing to do. The smell of fresh air, the sound of nature. That's why I was pretty disappointed when my camping buddy Mark bailed on me at the last second. But not to worry, I wasn't going to let that ruin my camping weekend. I'll just go by myself. What's the worst that can happen? It's a long drive up to the Blue Mountains where I like to camp, but I managed to make it there by noon, just in time for lunch. I just bought a new tent, so I spent most of my time setting that up, between bites of my sandwich. It took a little longer than anticipated, and it looked to be getting dark out soon, so I figured I'd start the search for firewood. I usually didn't camp this far out. I'm not even sure if I'm still in the designated camping area. If I am, it must be on the very outskirts. I'd say I've inadvertently gone further out than I usually do, since Mark was the one who directed us on where to camp, since he knew this area much better than I did. Anyway, my search for firewood was turning out to be slow and tedious. I only seemed to be finding damp wood wherever I looked, so I decided I'd push on a little further away from the campsite, to the dry riches beyond. I got lost in my thoughts and drifted further and further away from my campsite. But hey, no rush. The sky's still got some sun left, and I am here to enjoy nature. Although, one thing I didn't expect to see this far out was a human-like structure. It was white and small. I could barely make it out through the brush, but it was definitely man-made. My curiosity got the better of me as I hesitantly went to investigate. As I got closer to what appeared to be a caravan or mobile home of some sort, I suddenly got a feeling of dread as I was hit by the foul smell this thing was emitting. I can only describe it as a mixture of cat piss and vinegar. I know I'm not going to find any firewood in this caravan, so why am I still here? Just as I was piecing together that I may have stumbled upon something very illegal, I decided whoever owned this caravan probably isn't the friendly type, and that I should really be going. As I turned around, I was met by the vague image of a man in overalls before I was struck in the head with what appeared to be a shovel. For the next couple of hours, I drifted in and out of consciousness. The last thing I can remember is being thrown into a deep hole, with the gradual sensation of weight being thrown on top of me. The air grew thin until it was replaced by a suffocating amount of dirt and soil that occupied my lungs.
Being Scared sat at his computer. The idea was to write an original story about a murder, the murder of a man. As he typed, his back sliding glass door inched open quietly. The man with the black hood stepped into his home. Being Scared heard nothing as he was wearing headphones. The man with the black hood did not know where he was, so he walked into his master bedroom. Inside, the window was open, and the room was dark, cold, and empty. He must be in another room, he thought. Being Scared closed his eyes and leaned his head back, and tried to imagine a scene of pure horror. A scene of sadness. The man with the black hood walked at a very slow pace, making no sound as his steps pressed into the hallway carpet. He could see a light on at the end of the hallway. He turned and looked into the bedrooms as he walked down the hall, and he could see toys. These must be the bedrooms of his children. Being Scared opens his eyes and types fiercely before the images from his mind fade. The man with the black hood reaches the bedroom and leans his hooded head through the doorway. Being Scared is facing away from the door, and his vulnerability becomes too much. The man with the black hood puts his palm against the door and pushes it open. The creepy music becomes very loud as the climactic end of the song is beginning. Being Scared is almost finished typing. As the man with the black hood steps into the room, he takes another step toward Being Scared, and he is now standing right behind him. Being Scared has only one more sentence to write. The man with the black hood abruptly reaches with his left hand underneath Being Scared's chin and pulls it upward, and with his right hand slides the long blade across his throat.
I've always been into music. I play the piano every day because it reflects my way of thinking. Playing the piano is the only way that I see the world. It's my window into the universe. I love music so much, and everyone used to tell me that music would be the death of me. I, on the other hand, knew that music wouldn't kill me, but I would die for it one day. And I did. I died for music. I sat in the gallery where my grand piano is. I looked at the clock, and it was midnight. My family was already asleep, but I didn't care. I sat, I played, and I played for hours without stopping. My fingers probably were hurting and tired, but I didn't notice it because I was living for the music. I stopped eating, I stopped sleeping. I would barely go to the bathroom. I simply played, and it was endless, and it continued even after I died on the piano bench. I kept playing.
I died on a Saturday night. I'm the kind of guy who just likes to stay at the house and watch movies or listen to music. Bars and parties annoy me. I always end up wishing I'd stayed home. Plus, beers are way cheaper. Beer actually played a small role in this, but probably not how you think. I'd been on a bit of a bender, drinking every fucking night for a couple weeks, and decided that I was gonna jog on the long path behind my house instead. I like going up there at night, because there's hardly ever anyone else on it. It's like my own personal area. Now usually, my girl Ripley goes crazy if I even mention a walk, but for some reason, she wasn't feeling it. She just glared at me, head poking out from under a blanket. She's such a good dog, and I know someone in my family will take her in and treat her the way she deserves to be treated. Anyways, I made my way up and started my walk/jog, mostly walk. The moon was bright, and I was blasting Maximum the Hormone through my headphones. People are always telling me that wearing headphones so much is dangerous, because I'm not fully aware of my surroundings. I usually laugh and tell them how stupid that is, but I gotta be honest here. In this situation, they were absolutely right. I went about half a mile and got that eerie feeling that I was being watched. I looked behind me. There were 4 coyotes stalking. I turned around to face them. I started screaming, "Get out of here!" trying my best to intimidate them. They didn't even flinch and continued toward me. I realized how much trouble I was in when I noticed how skinny and emaciated they were. They were starving. I turned to run. Maybe I could use some trees to my advantage. Holy shit. 2 more. They must have circled around me. They were all closing in, a shrinking ring of focused eyes and bared teeth. I kicked one, hard, and as I did, one bit a small chunk out of my calf. I was only wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I cried out and went back to screaming at them, but they didn't care. And it was on after that. The smell of blood sent them into a frenzy. I fought the best I could. I tried punching and gouging eyes, but I didn't stand a chance. They were tearing me apart. Shortly before the end, I went numb. I just stared up at the sky, my body shaking violently as my flesh was ripped away from all sides. I became peaceful in a very odd and surreal way, and then it was over. I do not blame them for what they did. They were just doing what they do. And I lived a great life. Some could say that what happened isn't fair, but life isn't fair. We've all put our quarters in and are playing the game, and my game is over.
Hey all, Killer Orange Cat here. I'd like to thank everyone involved in this video. Please make sure to visit all their channels to subscribe. All links will be in the video and in the description. Oh, I'd also like to clarify that I am 100% in support of green energy. I just thought that last line was funny, so I included it. But yeah, I think those wind turbines are a good thing, even if they do try to kill me. Now, I know this was a bit different and a bit morbid. In fact, I had several people decline to do this because it seemed too morbid and maybe unlucky. I completely understand that. I also know that this video may make some people uncomfortable, so I'm very sorry if it did. I do plan on doing this again, so if any narrators are listening and you'd like to take part in the next installment, please let me know. In the meantime, please don't forget to make sure to check in your closet and check under your bed, because you never know where a killer orange cat might be hiding. Good night.